Alright, I got a progress video here for you guys. Just gonna show off what I've done. And I've got most of Europe, I think, mapped out. You'll notice a little bit of differences here. I took a couple of changes to the countries because they were like completely out of place. I didn't want a Polotsk situation where Polotsk is up here and they slowly migrated down the coast. It was funny at first, but then it was just kind of silly. So I just changed their names to whatever cores were closer to them, closest to their capital and culture bases. And you'll notice I've consolidated a little bit of stuff in Russia. There's no more Chud up here. I've changed a couple of borders here just to make them look better. I don't know how much that's going to affect something, but yeah. I did that. And the borders are pretty much how they should be. Some places that had... what I was looking for, actually, was things with the same flag. So, Toulouse became Occitania. And Aragon became Catalonia, which isn't exactly the same flag, but it's the same thing, basically. I have changed provinces in England, but I haven't changed them to being whatever they're going to be yet. I couldn't make this island different because it's connected to this part, so yeah. And I haven't done anything with the colonies yet, but Iceland is there. You'll notice I've changed the Knights Templar to Prussia, because if they weren't Protestant, they would have been Prussia, and I think that's kind of a stupid rule, so they're Prussia, because they were Prussia in everything but religion last time, so I think it's something that the Teutonic Order does sometimes, so I think it's fine that something that's a religious group can do that. It's, I guess, historical. And they should have done it a long time ago. So, they're Prussia now. Plus, they're, you know, I don't know, it's easier to take something that's already there. You'll notice I've cleaned up a lot of the one-province minors, and I've made something here, Saxony, which is all of the one-province minor kind of countries here, or multiple province minors, the different Saxon countries, and consolidated them. Prussia and Bavaria, or the Knights Templar in Bavaria were at in a war, and Bavaria was winning. So, this and Bohemia-Moravia, which is Bohemia, existed already, and they had a couple of provinces. One, I think maybe one, and they got a couple of provinces out of that, and Bavaria broke off, I would say, a couple of these and just performed another thing. Over here, the borders are pretty much a little bit cleaned up, just to make it a little bit nicer, and I've changed Lotharingia to Rhineland, and Thuringia is just the same. And whatever was down here, I don't remember, is Württemberg now, because Württemberg is there. So, yeah, you'll notice no Austria. Hungary's on the map. I'm wondering what these guys shake out in, just for that. Okay, so looks like Amalfi's going to be a great power. Most of these are going to be dominated by Europeans, even with us being... Yeah, I gotta change that. Even with us being... number 1 in prestige last time, because the player's pretty much always going to be number 1 in prestige. So I've changed pretty much just Europe and the Middle East and India, because those are the places we're probably going to end up focusing on. So I did those first. Haven't done any pops yet, and I don't know how much of them I'm actually going to do. I haven't done China. But one of the things I did was I took the colonies that were over here and just consolidated them into one country, Kamchatka. I don't know what I'm going to do with that. I'll probably add this to that and a couple of provinces from Manchuria to that. But I'll deal with that when I start messing with China and Japan. So that's pretty much what I've done so far. Oh, I also broke off Brittany, and they're going to be a vassal of Amalfi. So that's cool. So next, I think I'm probably going to end up doing North Africa, and Eastern Africa. And then I will probably change who owns colonies on this side, but leave it largely the same other than that. And like stuff down here. Madagascar, I think I'm going to make a vassal or a domain or whatever. And then Vondistan is going to be its own domain. So if I was able to do that in the last game, I would have done so, but I wasn't actually able to do that. And then I'll have to start messing with this and China. I was going to say Russia for last, but I found an easy way to do it. And then the last thing I'm going to do is do North America. Because I think that's the last thing we're going to be interacting with, but it has the possibilities of becoming a really awesome battleground with the Spanish colonies here and the other colonies in the south, and the west coast being the English colonies, and then Vinland up here. So mostly I'm going to be doing that last, because I think when I come out I'm going to be doing those events first, and I want that in my head. Because there's a lot of events that deal with North America. And then I'll probably start working on the Russian ones, which are probably going to be the next most relevant to us, and then the Ottomans, and then so forth. To be honest, not a lot needs to be done over here. There's a lot of places that can just be said, okay, they call it Brazil here, but, you know, it's got Dutch people in it, and that's the easiest way to do it. But for the most part, I think I'm making some good progress. As far as Europe goes, all I have to do is mess with England, and then I'm done with the borders, at least in the borders as they were at the end of EU4, roughly. And then I'll move on to other places. So I just wanted to give a progress report. I actually haven't been working on this a lot this week because I've been really busy. But I'm hoping to spend a lot more time next week on it. And then I think once I'm finished with all the borders, I might do a stream maybe in the middle of the week or something like that, depending on how my progress goes. So you can kind of come in and say, hey, do this event or do this, you know, whatever. And I think it'll be a good interactive experience. But I want to get the bulk of the work, you know, the grunt work, me going in and copy pasting a bunch of tags into the names. And then if I do pops, I'll do that before that. But we'll see about that. I did bother to add new religions, so I'll probably at least change the religions. But I think the cultures I'm going to leave largely the same. I'll mod in the Norse up here, and they'll still largely be in the proportions that they should be for whatever the major religion is in the area. Which means that Persia is mostly Zoroastrian, and I've already done that. And I've done Iran and Iraq, basically, because those are the easiest ones to think of as being our country. And then I've been working out there. I think basically just Syria and Arabia needs to be done for Zoroastrianizing. And then India I'm going to leave basically the same. You notice I'm I guess playing as the Immortals right now, just because I just finished with their mapping. Now, one of the things I thought about doing is, because the Immortals don't actually own a port on the north coast, extending Sweden's colonies a couple more provinces, like maybe these 3 provinces. Just because the Immortals are basically a step horde that are Zoroastrian with better technology. They don't really have any use for boats at this point. And of course this is up in the Arctic, and you know, what do these guys who are from the desert know about the Arctic? I might not. It's just kind of a thing that I was thinking while I was modding this over here, like, well, wait a minute, hang on. The map ends here, basically. Like, this part of the map doesn't exist. It just kind of cuts off and there's wasteland. So I was like, well, maybe I should extend Sweden's borders a little bit. but no. And I'm kind of rambling. Oh, I also buffed Krakow, because Krakow needed buffed. So they have, what, 5 provinces now? There was also a lesser Poland here, so I decided to just make it Krakow. Why not? They owned Krakow, so it's cool. And Krakow's a big province, so I basically just gave them what was around them that roughly made the same shape. So I will be back when I've done more stuff. North Africa is going to be really easy. And then I will get back to you.